Hey, welcome to the Kaiju Podcast. I'm Ralph.
I'm Jorge.
And today we're talking about Ultraman, the next.
2004.
Right. This is a suggestion from Twitter, from G-Man.
Has G-Man suggested things before?
Not really.
Does G-Man like this one?
I think the line of thinking was we only watched the one episode of Ultraman with Chiquino.
Right.
And we didn't. And so it's like, I think we had mentioned on the show that possibly in the future Ultraman would be something where we would like maybe watch like a story arc or a season and then do one episode about that. I thought the movie was fine. It wasn't.
I feel for me what the Ultramans that I will enjoy are going to be more vintage.
Yeah, kitschy
ones.
Right.
Yeah, for that fun kind of kitschy. When was Ultraman? 70s?
Probably 60s, I think too.
Really that early?
I think so.
That type, because that's when sci-fi was really kind of really had like a nice like aesthetic, and I think that'll be more appealing to me.
Right.
This suffered from some of that like Mothra series type of like that. This era of cheap CGI is hard to get past.
Right.
In a lot of things, a lot of just like kind of like when they anything like when they make something look like it's growing, and it's like you can tell it's just great. No, you didn't try very hard.
Like when the monster's absorbing rats and crows.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I mean, storyline was kind of interesting, especially that whole thing, that monster mythology, kind of reminiscent of like Swamp Thing and bad guy Swamp Thing.
The
Abomination.
Right.
Kind of like that, where it's like it becomes like this mix, like things that the mixture. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I was a little bit confused at first. I thought the salamanders came from it.
I thought so too.
But he was absorbing.
Like I thought he like spurted some salamanders out.
Right.
But then they crawled back in, or I don't know exactly where the salamanders came from. Oh, yeah, because like what are these salamanders doing on this ship? And it's a little weird. Yeah, and there's also this other weird broad mythology that that Ultraman and the one are two entities that are independent of the humans that they were attached to. So that is curious. Like that whole like I'm interested in like the notion of that origin story, like these two other groups or races or species or people of something from another universe or planet or whatever coming, and how like that is curious as to why that was
right.
And I'm wondering if delving into like I think I have like whatever the Ultraman first season on like DVD or something that I just haven't.
What was the series? Do you remember?
This was a good time to do it. What?
Yeah. Do you remember the series that came before it?
Before Ultraman?
Yeah. It's something Q.
Ultra
Q.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's necessary viewing before you get into Ultraman. If that'll give you more
good
of
question.
Of a backstory on these glowing things. It's I like, okay, so for me the movie I thought was fine. The effects are hard to get around. But it felt like almost like that last Gamera movie we watched, but not as well done.
Sure.
And it was hard to like the first like until we see Ultraman, it's hard to like get myself into like thinking it's an Ultraman movie.
Yeah, I know.
It didn't feel like anything else.
He gets impregnated with Ultraman, and it goes for a while before he finally Ultramans up.
Like I kept having to remind myself this isn't a Gamera movie. But it was like I was fine with it. I liked the movie okay. I didn't like hate it.
Definitely this kind of thing that reminded me of Shin Godzilla in a way, where there's different forms, or like Destroya, where it's like there's this is form 1 and this is form 2, and it's a huge metamorphosis, especially on the one.
Yeah, but, I like that. I like that version. I liked. Okay, so when we first see the one, I'm like, oh, that's an interesting design, and it's kind of cool. Like it was like human size. I mean, a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
but it had like
Killer Croc.
It had like fake eyes, like puppet eyes for the wide shots, but for the close-ups, it had like a mask or something for human eyes to be shown.
Yeah, right.
Like I like that. And I'm like, okay, well, they're clearly like saying that there's only one monster in this movie, and I'm like, this design's okay. It's kind of weird, but then when he grew, I'm like, okay, cool. It's a completely new design.
It got like more extreme in a way. It was kind of
cool.
Cool.
I like that if you're going to be stuck with one monster, to have it shapeshift.
Okay, so it's weird that when the face comes out, it comes out the shoulder.
the face shoulders,
when he goes, oh, when he shows his face, when the whole scene when like the woman doesn't shoot him, and
oh my god,
when it's like the face and it pops out the shoulder, and then later you see the longer scene where he's like, oh, you're gonna shoot me.
Yeah, at first I was like,
shoulder face.
It was one of those moments where you yell at the TV and you're like, why aren't you not shooting him? Just shoot him. And then later you realize why. Because it's her boyfriend or husband. But I mean, I'll just say it. I think it's funny that the two movies that we watched for these next two episodes.
Oh yeah.
For next episode also has shoulder faces.
It's one of our running themes.
It's a weird thing.
You know, maybe that was the trend of the year because the two movies that we just watched also came out in 2004.
Right.
It's so weird that they're both the same year.
Yeah. What is that? That's odd.
That is weird.
Okay, so the Top Gun music.
Oh my god, the Top Gun music. It was so on the nose. It was made me. I had to Google. Wait, what's that Top Gun love theme, whatever that is? And I was like, going to play it. Well, right after I hear it on the movie.
It's who did the score? Was it like Harold Faltermeyer? I don't know. I had the Top Gun soundtrack, and that was my favorite. My favorite track on the album was that sort of anvil bell hammer sounds.
Yeah.
And then the guitar. I mean,
it's very kind of like Rocky's training montage too.
Yeah. This version made me so happy because it was. At first, I'm like, oh, they just took Top Gun music. Like, is this a fan film? But they switched it just a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what made me kind of like. I go, this is not. This is definitely supposed to maybe remind me of Top Gun, but there's something that's off about it.
And it's like what, 17 years later or something. Or something like that.
Yeah, well, the whole bit about the fighter pilot was like such a big thing. I guess the one thing is like it's a little it's pre-Iron Man, right?
Right.
Yeah.
By 4 years.
Yeah, something like that.
So that puts the effects in perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
What'd you think of the baseball caps with the chin straps?
Oh, I've seen those before. I like them. What did you think? What did you think of the Little House on the Prairie flashback? When those dudes were talking about why they became pilots, and the main guy.
Oh, the kid talking about when he was going fishing.
He's running with like a straw hat and a bucket.
Yeah, it's
like in a field.
Yeah. I guess because it's in color. Yeah, it was very Mayberry.
Yeah.
I wrote. Oh wait, hold on. There's that shot at the beginning of like the building on the cliff, and I was like, "Ooh, it kind of looks like an evil lair." I was hoping there'd be like some kind of like an evil supervillain, kind of like some kind of like evil mastermind that's charismatic or something for it.
To like send out the monsters. So okay, there's a scene early on where our main character is essentially getting let go from the Air Force, and they're doing it in this park, which has like these sort of jets up on pedestals, like a sort of like a boneyard or something, but it's like it's like a display of jets. And I loved seeing those jets because those are all like the kind of jets we see in model form in like Godzilla movies. Like they had the one where it doesn't have a nose cone, it has like it looks like a little open like mouth. And then it had this
same thing like when in the flashback when he sees the jet go fly across the sky. It felt very reminiscent of like a Godzilla movie jet,
and it looked like a model. I thought that one looked like a model. The ones they fly later, when he crashes into the Ultraman sort of anomaly, those didn't look like models, but they kind of moved like them.
Yeah, I think that it's maybe what happened was. They probably scanned a model to CGI it. I think. There's some. I put actually the one also had moments where I go, oh, he kind of looks like Calibus, but that's probably because Calibus was fresh in my mind.
Right? Was it the eyes?
So I wrote. So wait a minute. Is this the origin story of Ultraman? He got bit by a radioactive meteor.
I think this spawned like a whole series of films.
Oh, really? After this one?
I think so. Because I looked up, I was looking through some of the actors, and the character Sarah is in a bunch of Ultraman movies.
Oh, okay.
So I think she's essentially Science Patrol.
So this was like the reboot that started a new series of Ultraman?
I don't want to say definitively, but I think so.
No, you're an expert now. Go ahead.
Sure.
That's definitely probably what happened.
And but I'm assuming that she would be like the leader of like a Science Patrol.
There's something that one of the kitschy aspects of the Ultraman suit that I still enjoy, though it's kind of a flaw of it, is the basically the foam rubber or whatever that is painted to look like metal, but you see it bending and moving because it's the suit. Strategic pieces, like I think, especially in his Ultraman Form 1, I feel like they definitely tried to make it look like an F-16 as far as like the metal bits. In many ways.
I think I liked that one the most.
It was that kind of because like it was gray, but it was like dingy and like
yeah. It looked like almost around his face, like around his nose and stuff. It had that sort of like rusting, like the Tin Man. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is supposed to be like an F-16, but I think I like that suit the most.
You didn't like him when he started? Well, I wanted him to start getting red.
Yeah, which he did.
Yeah, later.
But then when he became red, his helmet looked like it had a mullet.
Oh, yeah, he did have... stuff in the back of the helmet was a little different than the Ultraman I'm used to. But, I mean, when you Google Ultramans and Ultra Q, there's so many different like helmet designs. Yeah. And so just from my cursory knowledge of Ultraman, there's certain things I was waiting to check off, you know. It's like when you watch a Godzilla movie, you're waiting for like the back to start lighting up to like, you know, give him like the super atomic breath. And this like you're waiting for him to do the hand pose. And he's very I mean, there's a certain like Greatest American Hero quality where he doesn't quite figure out how the Ultraman works. Mm-hmm. And like, I can figure out how to shoot this thing out of like my chest holes and stuff.
Or when he's in the first fight, he realizes that he sees that his arm is glowing, but it's not like a sustained glow. It's kind of flickering. And then he's able to use that and spin and cut off the tail. Yeah. So that's... Yeah.
It's still like a work in progress, but trying to master being Ultraman. which is cool. But I don't think it was fully fleshed out enough. Like it could be like for example, like the first Iron Man, like all the like the different like slapstick humor of the physical stuff when he's testing the suits out, right. Things like that is that's a fun way that I think could have enhanced the movie, or just more like doing things by accident. But he's lucky, and it's what he should have done anyways.
I think the problem with this is that it's not the man trying to be Ultraman. It's the Ultraman trying to fit in a human body.
Yeah.
So it's not... It's Ultraman being like, why isn't this lighting up? Or why is... He's
like...
The guy is just kind of a vessel, so he doesn't really have a say in it. For him, it's mostly just dreams. Like, he's like, oh my gosh, that really happened. So it's not like he gets a suit and he's trying to figure it out. Like that would, if they set it up that way, then you could do all that stuff and it would be fun. But this is like this being that you don't really see other than sort of this giant red meteor / outline of Ultraman be inside a person. You don't really get to see what the actual entity is thinking.
Yeah.
You just kind of see this guy reacting to it.
We just see basically what the result is. So we now, so then do we go to start with lizards and then salamanders? So salamanders is the second form technically.
I don't remember seeing the lizards.
Well, we just know because he was climbing on the ceiling. And he had like, a bumpy facial complexion. Mm-hmm. And when we first see him, he looks like a lizard.
Right.
Unless the salamanders are synonymous. Did they specifically say salamanders have mentioned it? I don't know if they ever said that actually in the words, so I don't know if like... whether that's a proper full new form. Because he changes species late, like, because then it's rats.
Yeah, then crows.
And rats, gave him more teeth? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
He had like a bigger mouth.
Like, what did rats do? Like, did it help him burrow or?
Yeah. I was trying to. I didn't get the notion was that he would get whatever power.
Well, it seemed like when he would absorb him, it would make him bigger. So maybe since there was there's an abundance of rats, maybe it's like, well, I don't need any of their properties, but I could use their volume because there's a ton of rats, and he just
And there's a thing that I was kind of like when it went to crows, and crows was interesting, where he's like, oh, I'm gonna, well, also because it changed the heads,
right?
He had like the 3 heads that were like 2 baby versions of his own head, but then it changed the crows and. Crows came out of the mouths of those heads and replaced them. That was kind of a cool effect.
Yeah.
And the design of the wings when they opened up was a cool thing, even though it was CGI.
Right.
But the notion that his wings is made up of a bunch of crows and you cut them off and they turn into crows again immediately and just fly away.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird and would have been crazy if that was how it went. Like, what if when he was growing giant, he was like essentially like a giant pile of rats that could move in a humanoid fashion, that just constantly moving and wriggling stuff would be rad.
Like Oogie Boogie when his burlap sack is off and it's those bugs. I mean, you'd have to do CG. You would either you'd have to.
The CGI wasn't ready for it.
But you could probably build a suit that's a pile of rats. And then make it so enough of them are animated. Some rats
on top of it,
Make it so enough of them are mechanic, like those mechanical disembodied hands.
That's green screen colored, and just impose a pile of wriggling rats on the green screen, and it might you might even be able to get away with it in the 2004 era of CGI.
I'm trying to make it so it's practical. So that when we review it on the show, you like it better.
Yeah. For the next, when we remake the movie, it will be a bunch of basically plush rat toys that are sewn together as pants and a shirt.
I feel like you can use Oh my gosh.
It'd be like those pants that Flea in the Red Hot Chili Peppers wore in some video I remember.
I think
stuffed animals.
I think if they were just regular sized rats, but it's like a 10-story tall monster, from far away you wouldn't be able to tell what they are.
Oh,
so it would be cool.
So many rats. Yeah, that'd be
to
great.
get the close-up shot,
like New York, somewhere where we know there must be just a ton of rats in the underground there and stuff.
And the big reveal is the foot steps down in the foreground, and you just see it's a leg of rats, and rats are falling off as it steps down, and then they run back to reform onto it.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of bees surrounding a queen.
Kaiju Pod presents rats. Pile of rats. I'm doing it. I'm gonna start writing Pile of Rats the movie, and it's gonna be awesome. Because that sounds
Pile
terrifying.
Working title. We'll have to figure out the name of the monster.
Yeah, that'll just be like our working title.
Yeah.
But did you ever see? There's a show called.
It'll end up being Ratzilla, probably. What?
There's a show called Gravity Falls on. It's a Disney show, and the first episode, they fight essentially what you're talking about. I think it's a gigantic woodsman, but it's made up of gnomes, a bunch of tiny gnomes.
Cool.
So if you get a chance to check that out,
actually, you know what? There's a video game I was playing that came up on Game Pass. That was like it was called I forget. It's something. It was like something A Plague Tale. I forget what but basically it's something like Innocence, The Plague Tale. And the whole time, basically most of what you're doing in the thing is you're avoiding the plague rats, and they're just scrambling in piles in different places, and you find ways to get them out of your way, and like, because fire will keep them away. And there's a part where there's so many piling up that they could basically create like a cyclone of rats that come towards you, and you gotta hit them with a thing to disperse them again.
It's like a bait ball. Like you ever watch like those bait balls, the fish that all swarm around in a big ball? It's like one of those. But you would have put something in the middle, because I don't think rats would just do that. So you could have like a giant, like a human-sized queen rat.
Like they'll be like guards are avoiding, and you'll knock the light out, and the rats will just swarm that guy and take him out.
That's awesome.
Only bigger.
But you have a thing in the middle of this big thing of rats that's making them all become a giant guy. So in the sequel, it could be like a big thing of like snakes.
Yeah. Yeah, like we turn them into like a turducken, where it's like, and then after you beat the rats, you still got to deal with whatever's underneath the rats, and just be like the snake guy or something, or vice versa, where you saw him build up. It was and then he's all bees.
What if he's all fish, and they're all like gasping for air, and then they're all like just dead fish, but now it's still walking around with like dead fish? Oh.
He crawls out of the water. He started in the water and he was all fish, and then he walks out, and then and then some other toads or frogs all jump on him, and they help keep the fish wet.
Oh, that just reminded me. I needed to put a note on for next episode. P Ocean. Okay. All right. So what? This, huh?
Okay.
There's a note I needed to put on next episode.
What are you saying?
Did you hear what I said?
P Ocean.
Yeah. That's a teaser for next episode.
Okay.
So the first fight is pretty cool inside a gigantic sort of hangar room.
Yeah.
And I like that the ceiling tiles were like, some were missing. They're like the roofing tiles. Yeah. I was hoping it would come down, and it didn't really. They kind of the one kind of smashes out the side, makes a hole in the wall, and escapes. But the second fight was also indoors in this giant like pillar room. And I was like, oh man, are they not going to destroy any buildings?
Right.
I was kind of getting like bummed that they were fighting only in these kind of indoor big arena areas. But we do get some outside stuff. But it's mostly him learning to fly. There's not really a lot of fighting.
right,
in miniatures and stuff.
No,
which was kind of a bummer. I didn't like,
and you didn't like what?
I didn't care that the CG wasn't that great. I thought the dogfight was kind of fun, but I feel like if they did it now, it would look a lot cooler and be more fun.
Right.
Like I like the way he flipped around.
Same kind of thing, the wiggling around.
Yeah.
And the other thing was like, remember the criticism that you had, or maybe it was just for the trailer on the second Pacific Rim movie, where you felt that they're moving too fast, that it wasn't, you weren't getting the weight of the size. Mm-hmm. And I feel that happens in this movie because they fight like normal people.
Right. You don't get that sense of scale.
Set to bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. You just need a little bit slower to make them feel bigger. And I was okay with the flying because you don't have you have less constraints and you can, I like there's a shot of the city where Ultraman is weaving in and out of buildings. It's like an above shot. Yeah. I was like, it kind of looks cool. And they put a shadow on the skyscrapers as he went by him and stuff. I'm like, they're almost there, but it just wasn't enough to be like, oh yeah, that's it.
Right.
I am curious to see what advances they made in Ultraman effects, because this does feel like a reboot. So maybe they were a little bit on the budget was on a little bit of a lower side.
Yeah, well, yeah. I wonder what the I wonder what the newest Ultraman.
Well, there's a Netflix series out right now.
It's live action,
or it's a movie. I think it's animated like the Godzilla ones.
Animated, yeah, but that's different.
But I think I'd be more willing to watch an Ultraman animated movie than a Godzilla one. Because for me, Godzilla is guy in a suit.
Yeah.
And Ultraman for me is one movie and an episode. Yeah. It's not as I don't have a set thing in my mind of what it should be.
Ultraman for me but is he a robot?
I don't think so. He's just
Ultraman
a big guy.
For me is other Jet Jaguar.
Yeah. But I like that they changed the designs around.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested. Yeah, I'm interested in Ultraman. Ultraman is kind of feels like, in a way, it's like Japan's Doctor Who, where it keeps getting reinvented and new things. I'm more curious about going into and exploring the ones that were around the one that we did the other Ultraman on.
Right. I think that one we did was episode 26.
The science team stuff and and the supporting characters. It probably leans more Mighty Morphin Power Rangers-esque. I'm guessing
it's definitely not as loud. Right.
Bad Guy of the Week and suit action.
That might be the thing. That might be the thing I might put on before going to bed.
Ultramans?
Yeah, probably nice and short. They can't be too obnoxious. I don't think. Not as obnoxious as Power Rangers. I'm a big fan of Power Rangers.
I'm assuming. Yeah,
I watched Power Rangers when it came out. I was in high school, and I was definitely way too old for the demographic they're going for. But it was like a kaiju show, a half-hour kaiju show every day after school. So, but it was. I've rewatched them recently, and they're wow, they are loud, constant noise. So it's hard. That's going to be a hard one to watch. Yeah, but I think I got Stevie into it too. I think she actually enjoys them. They're really campy. It's like Batman 66, but in the 90s. This is really, really
I wonder how I'd feel if I watched them.
They're on Netflix. I mean, it's nuts, dude. It's fun to see how they repurpose the Japanese footage. Like there'll be an episode, and in the episode there'll be some weird prop that no teenager from the 90s would ever have, and you're like, oh, this must tie into the Japanese footage because they need to show the Power Rangers running around with this thing.
Oh, okay.
So, like, it's I mean, they're available to watch, but you'll see they're loud. It's like constant. The music is constant, and it's electric guitar, and there's always noise, and there's cartoon sound effects a lot.
Okay.
It reminds me of this movie I watched recently. Very recently.
Okay.
With cartoon sound effects and constant noise. I mean, if you have time, it's a 20-minute episode, and you'll know right off the bat if you can deal with it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just to see, because like I'm down for a parade of costume monsters.
So the formula is that there's a sort of a witch lady with a group of monsters, and they all look nuts. And then there's 90s teenagers who all know karate, and so you'll get like a monster fight, like a karate fight with the kids against like these sort of faceless minions, and then the last third of the episode is a kaiju fight with a monster of a week and a giant robot that forms together from like Transformers. Like they're prehistoric,
like Voltron.
Yeah,
right?
They're Voltron but prehistoric animals.
Right.
It makes me I kind of want to go watch an episode now. But I mean,
maybe that'll be something for after this initial run to do like a little, worth reporting on.
There's like they'll do like two-parters that are fun, because they would do like a prime time like two-parter, like before The Simpsons or something, or like a weekend, or they would do like a Friday night where there'd be like an hour-long episode, and those had like kind of more of a self-contained, nice, good, meaty storyline.
Okay.
Yeah. So I might have to do now a nightly Ultraman and Power Rangers episode a night or something.
Cool.
Because I'm done with Ted Lasso.
Oh, you are? All right.
Dude, Ted Lasso is awesome.
Cool.
So Ultraman, my favorite part of the movie, picks up a tiny Sarah puppet, which made me happy. He picked her. It's like it's just probably a regular doll,
yeah,
like a Barbie, but still. They do that thing where he sets her down, but he's blocking so that you can not see the transition.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, also a great part was when the building was going to fall on that crying girl.
That was cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I think this movie, I would like it way more if there's more stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like buildings crashing and
yeah.
stuff like that. Because when it comes down to the fight, the actual final fight, he does the thing that you want him to do, standing across the way from the city. He's not...
Yeah.
They don't really... I guess the previous two fights, they actual punch and stuff. But the climax is whose beam is stronger.
Yeah.
Which we've seen in like a million cartoons, and
sure,
it's in Power Rangers and stuff. But he does the thing with the hands. That must be, I mean, we all know it. Like we've seen that statue.
That's the thing.
The two interconnecting hands. And so like for fans of Ultraman who've been watching this for, I don't know, 50 years.
That's the moment they're waiting for.
That's the atomic breath.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in Gareth Edwards, like
yeah.
Godzilla, you're like, will he? Won't he? And then he does it, and you're like, he made it a moment.
Exactly.
So that was cool. I really liked it. And then just the guy blew up.
Yeah. I was like, oh, That's pretty powerful.
Yeah. There was a cool thing earlier on when they use the Ultraman to put him in that hole to use him as bait for the one. And they start shooting him up with those tranq darts, but it looks like they were like, they squibbed the suit. And like chunks of the suit were flying off as they're all like shooting at him. Mm-hmm. I like that. I like when suits get destroyed on screen. It made me interested. Like I didn't think this was the greatest, but it made me interested to see the follow-up movies of this.
It made me more interested in seeing the earlier Ultramans.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it made me want to see more.
Like Ultraman I still feel like I feel like like our education isn't complete until we check those out.
Right.
Or like Johnny Sokka, all the different little things, Space Giants. There's a whole series of stuff to delve into.
Yeah, Space Giants came on, or not Space Giants. Johnny Sokka, they played it on that Comet TV, and they put it on nightly, like right when I was going to bed, and I watched like a month of those. Those are fun.
Oh yeah, that's an app.
Yeah, it's
cool.
It's like a TV, one of those like UHF channels, but they also have a live streaming app, like on Apple TV and stuff.
All right, cool.
But you have to know what time it's on. I was just lucky that it came on like at like 9:30.
Yeah, there's some website I sometimes go to, and they stream like horror host presentations of movies. But yeah, exactly. You gotta like set a schedule. You gotta know when to go.
Right. I don't think it's in my top 5.
No, definitely not.
But it made me kind of understand what Ultraman is a little bit better, because the episode we saw with Michael didn't really have any origins.
Yeah, we were already in. Yeah,
we had to ask him all the questions.
Yeah.
And now we finally got to see what he was talking about.
Yeah, I still want to. Yeah. I'm curious how if this is the basic origin story from the get-go.
Right.
And then it's like a connection with another being.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll have access to the first episode of Ultraman. I'm sure it's out there.
Oh yeah.
And I think I might watch that
today.
Yeah.
We'll check it out and we'll report back later.
Yeah.
For those who stick to the feed.
Yeah, I need to make sure that I put that, like we need to say that at the beginning of the next episode, is to don't unsubscribe because we're going to pop up. Because obviously we've got to talk about, if anything,
in the episode after that,
Godzilla versus King Kong.
Oh, definitely.
I can. We've been waiting for so long, and there hasn't even been a trailer yet. Like, I feel like the trailer was going to come because it was supposed to come out in June, I think was the last release date, and then it was like around March is when the trailer would have probably hit, and that's when everything got shut down. So hopefully soon. I mean, maybe if Wonder Woman does well on HBO Max, they'll just put it on there.
Oh yeah, please do.
So we'll see. I'll be able to get screenshots for sure.
You already have it.
Yeah. Speaking of our next episode, this is it.
This is Godzilla's closeout.
Final Wars. We've talked about it forever.
We've dreaded
probably
it
since
forever.
day one. I bet you in our first episode I bring up
it just felt
how
right
awful
to
Final
end
Wars
with Final
was.
Wars, but then we're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't end with Final Wars.
Oh no, I think it's perfect.
But we have to end with Final Wars.
We have
Final Wars.
We have like 15 monsters to talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about.
All right. So, you'll find that hopefully on kaijupod.com along with links to our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube channel. And until next time, you would think
I'm going to go fishing.
Come up with one. Oh.
I'm going to go fishing.
You can go by the creek.
Go by the creek fishing with my little bucket and pole.
I'm going to go dream of silver comets.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
There's a lot to work with.
Yeah.